Welcome to the 2022 General Election Candidate videos, made possible by a partnership between Collin County Votes, which is an initiative of the Collin County Business Alliance, and the Allen, Frisco, McKinney, and Plano Chambers of Commerce.
I'm Leanne Libby, General Manager at Community Impact Newspaper in Plano, and I'm excited to introduce our viewers to Graeson Lynskey, running for House District 33. Welcome, Graeson.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, nice to
Happy
meet
to be
you.
here. Nice to meet you.
Great. Well, so let's jump right in. In your own words, what is the role of a state legislator?
Yeah, so a state legislator, first and foremost, sorry about that, I just had a book fall off my shelf. A state legislator, first and foremost, is designed to represent the needs and interests of their constituents. So we have the governor who oversees the general operation of our state, and then we have the state house, and their job is to really represent the people that they have been elected by to serve their interests and their needs down in Austin. So that's my number one priority going forward on every issue. Once I'm elected, my plan is to really represent the needs and the interests of the people in my district that sent me down to Austin in the first place.
Great. Well, so if you were to be elected, please share with us what your top 2 to 3 legislative priorities would be.
So number one for me is fixing the grid. I think that the electrical failure that we had last February was a mistake, and it's completely inexcusable. You know, if you pay your electric bill here in the state of Texas, you deserve to have the lights on, especially when it gets cold outside. On top of that, I think that it's important that we protect the rights of our friends, our families, and our community members that have been, trampled on, frankly, by the legislature in recent sessions. And lastly, I want to do more to support our small business community here in Texas, and especially in the 33rd District. Small business is the engine of our economy. I was raised by a small businessman. I know how hard it is to run a small business, and these people are hurting, especially after the events of the pandemic that we've been fighting with for the last couple of years. So I'd love to do more at the state level to really give them our support.
Well, Collin County is one of the fastest growing in the country. What are your thoughts on the growth to date, and what would your priorities be going forward?
Yeah, I think the growth is terrific, and I think it's important that we keep in mind the idea that growth is a good thing. But with that growth, we need to make sure that our infrastructure grows with us. So I know everybody's driven on 75 around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is bumper to bumper every single day. That's a problem, and that's something that we need to address at the state level. So I think that once I'm elected, it's going to be really, really important to make sure that we maintain this high level of growth in Collin County. It's good for us, it's good for our businesses, it's good for our families, but also making sure that our state and local infrastructure keeps up with it.
So, along the lines of infrastructure, what do you see as the biggest transportation issue facing the county, and how would you address it?
Yeah, like I said, I think the biggest transportation issue that we're facing right now is this horrible traffic congestion happening in Collin County. You know, we have a lot of issues right now with the fact that you cannot get across Collin County without sitting in traffic somewhere. We've been in construction on 75 as long as I can remember, and we really need to do something to address that kind of thing. So I think it's really, really important in tandem with actually solving these problems that our state government is more transparent about what they're doing to solve them. You know, I don't think I've ever gotten any sort of notice from TxDOT or anything like that about what exactly is being done. I just know that there's guys out there working every day. I'm glad that they're working because we need to do something. But I'd like a bit more transparency, a bit more communication as far as the timetable and things like that. So I think that solving that problem is really, really important going forward.
So, moving on to the business community, talk a little bit about what you see as the top needs for the business community in Collin County, and what do you see yourself doing in the future to help meet those needs to ensure continued economic growth?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the most important thing that we need to do for the business community right now is give them our support. After the COVID pandemic, we've lost thousands of small businesses across Texas. A lot of these places, cornerstones of our community that have been here for 30, 40, sometimes even upwards of 50 years. And we haven't had them with us anymore because of the pandemic. And I think that's a mistake. I think that's a shame. So I think it's really, really important that going forward, we support the business community in whatever they need. We make sure that there are resources available to them at the state level to help them fight against some of the problems from COVID. And we make sure that there are resources for them going forward to ensure that they can continue to be successful, as well as providing resources for small, maybe new entrepreneurs to start businesses in Collin County if they want to.
So, the business community and many of the organizations that represent it have been really prioritizing promoting equity and diversity through hiring practices, programs, and their community investments. Because Collin County is such a diverse area in every sense of the word, can you talk about what equity and diversity mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, I'm actually fortunate to serve as a gender-based violence prevention educator, um, and that's a really fantastic job. And it's taught me a lot about the different ways that people experience the world. For example, there's actually a disparity between the rate at which white people and people of color get assaulted, and I think that those are important things to know about. And so I think that really framing our hiring practices as well as the way we approach our businesses in general around maintaining equity and diversity in the workplace, while also making sure that we provide resources to people who have had a different experience to us, a different experience from me, certainly, making sure that they are given the same resources so we can all come up to the same level. I think that that's really, really important. And I'm happy to hear that businesses in Collin County are focusing on that going forward.
Great. Well, so last question. If you were talking to someone from outside of Collin County who is thinking of moving here or moving their business here, what would be your 30-second elevator pitch?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I grew up around Collin County my entire life. I've lived in this area, and this is the place that taught me how important it is to put others before yourself. Treat people how you want to be treated, and look out for your neighbor. Those are the kind of values that we represent here in Collin County. That's the kind of thing that we bring to the area, and I think anyone in the world would be lucky to live in a place like that.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your thoughts with the voters directly on all these important issues.
Yeah, thank you. I was happy to be here.